What is up, YouTube? It is the worst producer of all time, Hollywood Floss, back with another video. But before we get into the main video today, I just want to say how y'all doing. Everybody doing okay? I mean, we can finally move around the city without so much caution, which is a good thing. We're still gonna be cautious, but for right now, we can move a little bit easier. Thank God for that. But before we get into today's video, comment below. How do you start your beats? Alright? Do you start with the melody first? Do you start with the drum first? Do you start with the snare first? Do you start with the hi-hats first? Do you start with the piano first? What do you start your beats with? How do you start your beats off first? Alright? Comment below and let's get into it. Okay, what is up, YouTube? We are back. It's Hollywood Floss, the worst producer of all time. As you can tell by the title, you clicked on it. We're diving into Purity today. Now, Purity is not a VST that's gonna win the Best of the Year award or anything like that. It's not the Rolls Royce, it's not the Phantom, it's not the Lamborghini. Matter of fact, it's the complete opposite. It's the everyday car you drive. It's the Chevrolet Cruze. It's the Toyota Corolla. It is the Kia Forte or whatever the case may be. It's the one that you put the most miles on, but it's going to be reliable at the end of the day. It has a lot of sounds pre-made, and look at all these blanks that you can use to create your own sounds, and you can also tweak inside. So it's very useful. This and Expand 2 are your workhorses. All right?
I like your enthusiasm, Norm. You're a workhorse.
Use it 6 out of the 7 days of the week, and you're gonna get the most out of it, and it's straight to the point. You know what I mean? So I got a comment that said I should you know, dive into Purity, even though it's old. It's still useful in 2020. So here we go. Now for me, I love the woodwinds, I love the bass guitars, and I love the bells and perks, or the percussions or whatever, the plucks and bells, those type of things. That's the best for me. I mean, they have piano, of course they have pads and synths, but for me, that's not what I use it for. There's other VSTs that you can use, but if you're on a budget, Expand 2 and Purity, you can't beat that, right? I was playing around with it, and I was like, for my soul samples, you have the good bass. Let me plug that on for you. You have the good bass, then you also have some great electric basses. It has upright bass. You know, my favorite upright bass comes from A Tribe Called Quest, but also on the Common album, on the B album, on the intro track on B. I think Kanye or whoever, I think he produced it, but whoever played the upright bass, it's always been a fan of the upright bass. You have some basses with some pedals in it. Got some super slaps, some Parliament. All right, you got some fat fretless. I mean, this goes great with samples. All right, so anytime you can find a bass guitar that's not heavy on the CPU, goes great with samples. So when I mean goes great with samples, if you chop up a soul sample, you have your drums. Usually you have your drums, your sample chop, a bass, and maybe one other instrument. You need to have that bass to glue everything together, and I find that most of the time when I chop samples, I come right here instead of or a contact to get that perfect sound. So Purity definitely is superb when it comes to the bass guitar. I said the woodwinds. Now it doesn't have too many of them, but what it does, you can make up for it. All right. So let's hear this sound right here. This is the Woodwind Orchestra. Now look how easy it is to layer. You take the chain link, then you're gonna copy down right here, and then you're just gonna add what you need. Okay, just like that. Chain link, hit the box, add what you need. And the same way, if you want to delete it, You can get rid of that as well. All right. Also, you can come down and you can edit it. So if you want the slope to do this, see how it cuts it off? So easy to get around. Look at that. They're gonna mess with the chorus. You can cut off the chorus. You can put the reverb up, key range. If you want to add another filter to it, add glide. Pattern goes up or down. You can also mix the sounds, the level of what you're hearing, if you want a more prominent sound. So it's very intuitive, even though it doesn't get the respect that it deserves. It's very intuitive, very easy to add and then save your own sounds. All right, you can actually save your own sounds. Let's go back to the preset. So my first thing I use this for is the bass guitar. The second thing, the woodwind. The third thing that I like about it is the bell and the perks. Great bells out the box. I just added that to it, but if I wanted to just start over and just like, okay, let's unlink all of these. Give me a bell. Great bells out the box, okay? And that's just if you want to just delete something. Let's say you just want now, even though those three categories are what stand out to me, the other categories that you have, inside of Purity can be manipulated so you get a good sound. Okay, so that's a plus. You can't get mad at that. That's a plus. So let's go to the bright piano. And like I said, these are the kind of weaker categories to me. These sounds are the sounds are not bad at all, but you know there's better pianos out there. I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's go into the brass. Not a lot of brass, but let's see what it talks about. So this is kind of like some Travis Scott MIDI that I put in, just so you can get it back. If you're trying to make everyday hip hop or trap, Purity is perfect for that, for your everyday horse. Don't be ashamed to get Purity as your everyday workhorse, as your first bought synth. If you're just looking to buy something, you don't have a lot of money, you're like, man, I just need to get something that I can trust into. Don't be afraid of Purity at all. Let's go into some other strings. Like I say, we'll just. You can definitely use these. I like this one right here. This one's pretty legit for my soul samples when I hide it in the background. Also, don't be afraid to use Purity with some of the plugins, even if it's stock plugins or not. These are sounds that you can use, okay? All right. Some of the organs are kind of kiddie-ish, kind of cringe-worthy, but you can find some. I'm telling you, you can tweak the sounds, and you'll get an okay listen, especially for trap and everyday hip hop. It needs work. The arpeggiators need work, but I mean, Electra X. You can go to Electra X or something else for that. Okay, I wouldn't use the arpeggiators. They have tons of slow synths. And once again, when you can connect right here, layer it, Let's add some rain to it. Choose a U220. Okay, it makes up for it. Okay, right out the box, it's not gonna be like Omnisphere where you're just getting sounds and stuff, or Electra where it has plenty of banks and all of that. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to work for your sounds. Okay, so is Purity worth it? Absolutely. Your everyday workhorse, Chevrolet Cruze, your Toyota Corolla, your Kia. This is your workhorse that you're going to use every day. It's cheap. It's low on CPU. Also, you can create your own sounds and save your own banks. It has some, you can make trap just fine. You can make regular hip hop just fine. Don't get into your head. It's all about what you put into it. Honestly, just because it's a workhorse, I can't give it below a 7. I got to give it like a 7 out of 10. I mean, the sounds need work, but what it has there and the standouts, the bass guitar, the woodwinds, and the bell percussion, and everything else kind of secondary. It has a couple of piano sounds that you can use, but pretty much everything else is secondary. It's 7 out of 10, man. It's all right with me, man. It's dope. So the workhorse. That's what they should rename it for Purity 2, the workhorse, because that's what it gets the job done. And hopefully you like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. It's Hollywood Floss. Peace.